My addiction had destroyed me. I damaged my body. And I knew if I kept doing this, I was going to die. I just couldn't stop. I hadn't got the power to stop. And I got on my knees and I just looked up to the sky and I just said, God, please, help me. I can't do this anymore. You know, God had done for me what no one else could do for me. My name is Darragh Kelehan. I come from a small, loving family. Mum and Dad, 2 older brothers and a younger sister. And I grew up in Carruth, which was a rough enough area. So you had to be tough to survive, but I was all right. I had 2 older brothers there to get me into that role. We came up in a Catholic family. Back in the 80s, we used to go to Mass on a Sunday. That was about it. I went all the sacraments of communion, confirmation, I got baptised in the church. But as I started to get a little bit older, my faith started to dwindle a little bit. The material things in life started to take over. My mum and dad liked to drink. They liked to be social and have a party every now and again. So that's where I would have got my first taste of alcohol. At quite a young age, I progressed from alcohol and I progressed then to smoking hash at the time. You know, some of the lads didn't like drinking alcohol, so they'd get a bit of hash and we'd smoke a bit of hash. And it'd go from that, you know, and I progressed further on. I was in school, I did well, I did my leaving cert in school. I managed to get a part-time job and that paid for my weekends because every weekend I'd love to go out. We'd take acid, ecstasy, drinking alcohol and partying. I met a lovely girl, fell in love, and we went through the early years together. Everything was great. I got an apprenticeship, I finished my leaving cert and got an apprenticeship carpentry. And that was kind of it, you know. I went through 4 years and progressed in drug after drug. And I'd get the cocaine and I thought, you know, that was my limit. That was as worse as I could be, you know. Because I came from an area that was destroyed by drugs, especially heroin. And I seen what it did. I seen what it did to people and I never wanted to go down that road. But everything was to soon change. I was in a car crash from drinking and drugging. I hurt myself, I broke my wrist and I smashed my nose and I lost some of my back teeth and cheekbones. And being self-employed, I had no way of earning an income. So I had to find a way to make money. So selling drugs was what I thought was a good way to make money. So I got an automatic car and I used to go out selling drugs. And that was like the start of my downfall, you know, because I wasn't a very good drug dealer. I was probably my own best customer. You know, we got a year or 2 out of that and I ended up getting caught selling drugs and brought a lot of shame onto the family and caused myself a lot of problems because I split up with my fiancée Eilish at the time and things changed. And that's when I found heroin. It was 2001 and I went back through the next couple of years. You know, I was very ashamed of heroin because I seen what it did in my area when I was a kid. So I was very ashamed to say I was a heroin addict, but I used to go outside my area and buy the drugs from another area. Got back with my fiancée. She didn't know what I was doing. I went through the next couple of years. We bought a house, still worked, kept jobs down, self-employed. We got married. And all through this time, she didn't know that she was marrying a drug addict. So I was quite good at keeping things, you know, from her. She liked to do party with myself, and we went through the next few years partying. But of course, I had this dirty secret. And she found out eventually, and you know, it was hard, as she told my family. So my family tried to help me out, and that didn't work. I tried going to the mountains, that didn't work. I tried many home detoxes, and that didn't work. I always found myself going back. I'd stop taking the heroin for a couple of weeks and I'd start taking other drugs, tablets, hash, alcohol, anything, you know. Anything that took me away from the restless, irritable or discontent feelings that I was feeling in my body at these times. And eventually, I was working in maintenance man in Dominic Street Church. I was drawn into the church But I seen a different side of the church when I was maintenance man in there. I seen the business aspect of the church. And as much as I was around God, I didn't really feel God's presence at that time. Plus I was in a very bad state, you know. My addiction had destroyed me. I damaged my body. I chopped bits of my fingers off. I had accidents, titanium elbows, of arthritis, all while I was walking under the influence of narcotics or alcohol, and I still couldn't stop. But somewhere along the line, I had a beautiful son in 2008, and I thought that I'd be able to stay clean and sober for him, but I couldn't. I went back using drugs again. And eventually my wife was just tired of the lying, tired of me spending money on drugs and stuff like that. And she kicked me out of the house. And I was back in my mum and dad's, and I ended up finding treatment for the first time in 2010. And I went to a treatment centre and I did a cold turkey down there, and I managed to complete the programme. It was about 12 weeks down there I was. And when I came out of that programme, I seen down there the lads that were working with us, they were addicts that had recovered themselves. And I thought, you know what, here's people that are after giving up drugs and they have a good life. And I wanted what they had. 13 months after that treatment centre, I ended up having about a beautiful daughter. Actually, she was born the day I was a year clean and sober. The 4th of February 2011, she was born. And I thought, you know what, this is it, you know, everything is made. Two months after my daughter's birth, I found drugs in my shed and I went back at it again. And I'm allergic to drink and drugs. If I put one of them into my body, I start an allergic reaction and I can't stop. And unfortunately, that's what I did. When I found the drugs in my shed that time and I took them, I couldn't stop what was coming. And I had an 11-year relapse after that, you know. My family had found out, my wife had found out, and she threw me out of the house again because she was broke. She really thought this time he was going to do it. 2 beautiful children and wife and everything going, and I just couldn't do it. So I was back in my mum and dad's, and I managed for the first time ever to do a home detox in my mum and dad's box bedroom with some methadone and sleeping tablets. And I thought, right, I need to really, really do this now, Darragh. I just couldn't stop. I hadn't got the power to stop. I was beyond human aid, you know, as I felt. I tried everything and nothing had worked. And August the 30th, 2022, I was at the stage where I was probably at my lowest. I physically couldn't walk anymore. Crack cocaine, heroin, tablets, methadone and alcohol had taken its toll on me. In my body, I was 8 stone, 8.5 stone, and I was broke. I was lying to my wife, I was walking by, we hadn't got much of a relationship. My 2 kids were looking at me every day, seeing this father of theirs, and he was a shell of a man. And I really thought I was giving up. It was a Tuesday morning, the 30th of August, and I remember my wife had gone to work, and I was broken. My daughter came in, I was either getting sick in the toilet, and my daughter came in to me and she said to me, "Dad, are you okay?" And I looked at her and I said, "I might just have the vomiting bug, honey, I'm all right." She was 11 at the time, you know, and I could see the fear in her eyes, and I knew if I kept doing this, I was going to die. And when she closed the door, she said to me before she closed the door, she said, "Dad, when you're feeling a bit better, I'll make you a cup of tea." And I said, "Thanks." When she closed the door, I broke down crying because I thought, I'm going to die. And I could see the fear in my daughter's eyes, and I had a son 2 doors next door up in the bedroom, 2 doors up. And I got out of bed that morning and I got on my knees and I just looked up to the sky and I just said, "God, please help me. I can't do this anymore." I surrendered. I finally surrendered. I had enough methadone in my wardrobe to feed an army, so I was taking little sups of that during the day, and I got through that day without taking any other minor mood-altering substance, just methadone. And I went on. Wednesday morning, same thing. Thursday, same thing. The thoughts of drinking and drugging came back into my head, but I said, no, I have to do this. On a Saturday morning, I was paying a visit to an AA group in my local area. I had been there a couple of times before. But in my local church, I decided I'd take a venture in and I'd light a little candle and I'd say a little prayer. And I went in there that Saturday morning and there's a statue of Our Lady on the right-hand side of the altar. And I said a little prayer to Our Lady. And there's a statue of the Sacred Heart of Jesus on the left-hand side of the altar. And I went over to him. And I lit the candle. And as I lit the candle, I just looked at the candle burning in my fingers. And I just said, God, please, I need help. I cannot do this. If anybody can, you have the strength. Please help me. And as I said that, I just looked up at his face. And his Sacred Heart, his hand out like this, you know. I didn't see his hand moving, but I felt something touching my shoulder. And as I felt it, every hair on my body, from my neck down to my toes, stood up. It was like I was after getting an electric shock. And I thought to myself, whoa. My eyes started crying, uncontrollably sobbing. Like never ever before. I just uncontrollably cried and cried. And I thought to myself for a split second, I'm done here. The drugs are after destroying me, what's happening to me? But deep inside, I heard a voice. And it wasn't the voice that normally told me, go out and do this, Darragh, go out and do that, this is a good idea. This was a loving, kind voice and it said, Darragh, everything is going to be all right. And as soon as I heard that voice, all the feelings of detox, anxiety, irritability, everything just left my body. It was like I'd been just cured there and then. I felt love, warm embrace of the Lord. And for the first time in 11 years, I'd felt serenity. And I thought, I'm gonna be all right here. I don't know how long I stood at that statue, but I remember the local priest at the time who knew me came running down and he thought, here's a guy standing in front of the statue crying. He said, Darragh, are you okay? And I remember looking at him and I said, I am, Father. I just said, the big man has me back. And I explained what had happened. And I asked for confession and I told him I had a few resentments. So he took me up and I got confession and I floated out at church that morning. And something had changed. I went into that church crying, broken, and a different man, and I came out of that church floating. So I went home that day and I prayed for the first time on my own. I came off the methadone, 70 mils of methadone on the Tuesday after that. And I went through 4 weeks of hell of a detox. But I didn't care because I had the power of prayer and I had God on my side. And I kept praying and I kept praying. And no matter how bad the thoughts were, I'd pray and I helped. I didn't get much sleep. But as the weeks were going by, I was starting to feel myself coming alive again. You know, God had done for me what no one else could do for me. So I kept going to my meetings and I said, right, what do I do differently this time? So I have God on my side now. So I needed to do a program, the 12-step program. And the 12-step programs are spiritually based. I got a good sponsor who spoke a program and he lived the program. He didn't just speak it well, he lived his program. And I did the 12-step program with him. And I'd be in mass all the time. And every time I'd be in mass, I'd light my little candle and I'd give thanks, love and gratitude to the Lord. And sometimes when I'd get the Eucharist during mass and I'd come down and I'd kneel down, I'd have a certain little prayer. And I'd feel a little shake going through my body again with my hair standing up. And I know he was letting me know he's by my side. I went to Medjugorje, learned a lot of things over there. My faith became deeper and I fell in love with the Lord. When I came back from Medjugorje, I'd walk my dog at night time and I'd say the rosary And after the rosary, I do my 11th step, which is a prayer and meditation step, and I review my day and I go through my day. And that kind of grounds me, you know. I get up every morning and I do prayers and meditation. So that sets me up for the day. I start working again and became a productive member of society again. I could hold down a job, I was reliable and I was turning up on time. My family could see a change in me. My family could see me recover. Then I have my prayer groups. On the first Friday of every month, we meet up with a couple of other guys and we say the rosary. And we have a chat and see how we get on. And some people are in recovery, people only out treatment centres, and we help them. And we help them, give them a little bit of faith back. As I said, I've tried many things in my life, and God was the only thing that could restore my sanity for me. So we give these guys out and we give them an option, you know, say that this is another way, you know. So we pray and we talk, and my life had completely changed, you know. I'm going to Mass on a Friday night instead of to the pub or to a club. I'm talking to people of faith. I'm talking about faith. I'm praying rosaries. People are seeing me and I say, I'll pray for you, you know. My life has just turned around. My life today is very, very simple. And that's how I can still do the job I do. I give up drinking alcohol and drugs. I go around and I help other addicts and alcoholics. And I give them what I have. I help anybody that needs to be helped. And my life today, as I said, is so simple, but it's an amazing life. My family has gained so much from what I have experienced with the Lord. And all I can do to keep that is to give it to them all. There's some nights when I'm walking home and I'm at saying the rosary, out walking the dog and doing step 11, I come in and I say good night to my daughter. And some nights I get on my knees and we'll say a decade of the rosary together, or a few short prayers if she's not in the humour, you know. And that's bringing faith back into my family. I'm no saint. I make mistakes, I still sin, but I get confession and I talk to the Lord about it and I pray every night. And the next day I ask for guidance to do the right thing again. My hope to anybody out there is never give up hope, you know, because I thought I had given up all hope, but I was restored and I was taken back from the pits of hell. I surrendered many times over the years, but I didn't really surrender. I thought I could do it a different way. I seeked the Lord out that time, and He found me, and He changed my life.
"10 years of sharing the peace of Christ." Shalom World, God's own channel.